What's up, you guys? Chase the Dark Sage here, and we are back with another video, and we're back with one of my favorite type of videos that, well, I'm beginning to love a lot, and I mean a lot. And that has to be the third Nasty Man reading log. And in these videos, I generally just give you a few series I've been reading that are, well, Nasty Man series, and I give you guys my thoughts on them. It's basically like my old reading logs I used to do on the channel, but, well, it's just for Nasty Man content, and, well, I kind of like pushing that type of stuff to you guys if you're into that. Obviously, if you're not 18, well, check out this video. I will be uploading a video next week, but if you are 18, well, stick around and get some popcorn because we got some series to talk about. We gotta get a little nasty with it. Now, for all of you degenerates that do not know, I actually post these videos as separate videos on my Patreon, and they are completely uncensored with all the B-roll and all the panels being shown of nude women generally. They're uncensored on my Patreon. So if you want to go ahead and see that uncensored, go to my Patreon. Lowest tier is $1, and trust me, you get access to all the previous ones as well. So that way you can see all of them uncensored, just like the degenerate that you are. And I also forgot to mention in the last Nasty Man reading log, well, we now have a playlist on the channel for all you degenerates that just want to see my Nasty Man content or me just talk about Nasty Man stuff. Well, I have a playlist of that on my channel, so go ahead, check it out. I'll leave a link in the description down below to that playlist, so that way you can have some binge-worthy content, so that way later you could queue up some more binge-worthy content. For research purposes, of course, obviously, for research purposes. Come on, man. Come on, y'all know I'm not that type of guy. I'm not that type of guy. But before we actually get into it, before I tell you about one of the series that I really enjoyed, another series that, well, I'm surprisingly enjoying, and another series that, well, I thought I was gonna love, but I ended up not really liking at all, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and like the video if you haven't already. Make sure to follow me on all my other social media platforms. All my links will be in the description down below. So, let's go ahead and talk about these series. We're going to be talking about 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, and I'm not going to lie, I have not liked the Nasty Man series this much in a long while. Now, basically, if you want me to give you a quick comparison, kind of like how Please Put the Montakamine-san is like the Nasty Man version of Nagatoro, I would say 2.5 Dimensional Seduction is basically the nasty-er version of My Dress Up Darling. And I had high hopes for My Dress Up Darling because, well, I knew that it was a Nasty Man series featuring a gal character and it was wrapped up whenever you go buy it. But 2.5 Dimensional Seduction? Even better. I like the characters better, I like the setting better, I like the situations better, and I like the progression of the actual story better. Now, I do like the romance in My Dress Up Darling a bit better, but overall, I actually like the male MC in the story. I know, right? A Nasty Man series with a good male MC? Oh my god, we gotta talk about it. So basically, the male MC is this loner type guy that runs a manga club by himself in school, and one day this girl finds out that he does it, and him and her are the biggest fans of this one series with a character called Lilil in it. I don't know if it's actually based off of something that we have in real life, but they bond over that, and she has a huge dream that she wants to cosplay, and she wants him to be her photographer. Now, she gets very comfortable with him very quickly, and because of his drive to help, you know, they end up getting close to each other and they end up getting in some situations. Now, a new love interest is introduced at the last volume, and there are layers that actually happen later on within the third volume itself. I will say that I do like the situations in this manga itself. Now, the relationship, it could be worked on, but I think that it's one of those things that's slowly progressing. And I think the one thing that this manga has over me right now is the charm, man. The characters really win me over. The main girl character, she wins me over. The male MC wins me over. I like the artwork. The artwork could be really good at sometimes. Now, the Nasty Man element, because that's what you guys are here for. You guys want to know my opinion on the Nasty Man elements. It's not very nasty. It's a good amount of Nasty Man in the beginning, but later on, it gets a bit more tame, and honestly, I really have no problem with that. There are some ecchi moments here and there, and it works for the manga itself because it's established from the beginning that it's a Nasty Man series, and you do get some nipple shots, you get some breast, some chesticle shots, but overall, you don't get a whole bunch of them after Volume 1. Now, Volume 1 really sucked me in. Volume 2 got me going, and Volume 3, I was there, baby. I was there by the end of Volume 3. We actually got a little story happening in Volume 3. Oh my gosh. 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. What are we doing, baby? I'm gonna keep getting this because this is my replacement now for My Dress Up Darling, because My Dress Up Darling really disappointed me, especially with the volume release schedule. Oh my gosh, that volume release schedule was so slow. But 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, I did not think that I was gonna like a male MC in a Nasty Man series this much, and he really grows on you. At first, you get that loner type, I don't want to be with a girl, I only like 2D women. But now he sees a 3D woman that likes to cosplay as a 2D woman. And so somehow it meets in the middle somewhere where it's 2.5. You get what I'm saying? That's what I like about the title. I like where they merged that right there. And I like that he's still not wondering whether he's in love with the character that she's cosplaying as or whether he's actually falling in love with her. He's obviously falling in love with her because that's a Nasty Man series. But either way, this is a Nasty Man rom-com that you guys definitely should check out. Like I said, the artwork, it's not artworking, you know what I'm saying? It's not artworking too much. And the first volume is definitely some artwork, but they're all in high school, so it's not going to go too crazy with that type of stuff, which I hate about Nasty Man series. They could have easily been in college with this. Then again, it wouldn't be reasonable or logical for a manga club to have nobody in there except for one person that feels in college. But this could have been set in college. That way I wouldn't feel guilty reading this. But right now, this is a guilty pleasure. Either way, I like 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. It's a Nasty Man slice of life rom-com about a girl who really wants to make a career out of being a cosplayer and this guy who just wants to help her because, well, she's cosplaying as his favorite anime character. And what's not to like about that? And they form this little bond. Oh my gosh, this bond. I like it. They're both growing as characters themselves. They both push and motivate each other. Oh my gosh. Some of the layers under these Nasty Man series, they be getting me. But yeah, let me know if you guys are going to check this out. I know I said a bunch of nothing because I just praised it all the way. A negative I have about it is that, well, it could get wordy sometimes. I will say that. It's definitely reliant on the words and the dialogue. But either way, I was very enthralled with what they were saying and what they were talking about, and it got me a little bit interested more into the cosplay realm. I'm not going to cosplay, but it got me a bit more interested, and it makes me respect cosplayers a bit more than usual. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I really like 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. I know that there's an anime coming out for this, and it's going to be fire. I feel like a lot of people won't check it out, but it's going to be fire either way. We're going to be talking about a series that, well, I had no expectation for. In fact, I had super low expectation just from the cover alone and some of the things that I knew that were actually going to be in this series. But once I started reading it, I was pleasantly surprised. And that series has to be Call Girl in Another World, produced by 7C / Ghost Ship. And wow, we got another one. We got another one, Nasty Men, or Nasty Women also, but we got another one right here. And I'm gonna say this right here, this exceeded my expectations. I'm not gonna say this is the greatest Nasty Man of all time. No. It exceeded my expectations because, well, I had it to about right here, and somehow it got me to right here. And I'm like, okay, what we doing with this? And basically this series is about a girl named Yuzuki, where she is a call girl, and a call girl is a woman who does sexual favors over the phone through appointments and things like that. So she's from our world, but somehow she was transported to another world, and it isn't explained on how she's actually transported to this other world, but we just know that she's in this other world and she's trying to get back to our world. And in order for her to do that, she has this book full of requirements or full of things that she has to do, kind of like Zom 100, the bucket list of the dead, where he wants to cross out all the things in his bucket list. Well, she has a book full of things that, well, she's required to do in order for her to go back to her world. And yes, in this world there are magic, you know, different species like orcs, elves, you know, dark sorcerers and things like that. There's all types of stuff and magic and all that implemented in this, but I gotta say that she doesn't have any of that, and I really do like that. She's just surrounded in the world of that. And this series obviously doesn't take itself too seriously. In fact, a lot of people around her are kind of surprised at some of the things she does because she's a very sexually driven character, meaning that she's gonna get done what she needs to get done, and she likes to please. She's definitely a people pleaser, if you get what I mean in that regard. And the artwork, man, there's plenty of artwork to show that, you know, she pleases the people. Now, this usually happens towards the end of the chapters, but there's only 7 chapters in this bad boy. It's a pretty fast read, not too wordy. It does get a bit wordy at the end, but some of the situations that she actually gets in, I'm just like, was this in your book, or are you just doing this just to do this? And sometimes she's just the people's champ, man. She just does it just to do it instead of doing it out of requirement. And you know what? We gotta love people like that, just dedicated to the cause. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, she's a real people's champ right here. If only she was real. If only, but she's not though. So we gotta get that dream out of her head. But either way, I really do enjoy that they have a Nasty Man series that's kind of set in a fantasy-like world, like I said, where there's different species that she has to sexually please, whether that's through acts, which she really doesn't do, and she might do in other volumes, but she doesn't do any type of acts right here. But she has plenty of ways and plenty of techniques, as she calls it, in order to please some of these people. And some of the people that were unpleasable at first, she ends up pleasing. And I was like, okay, So this is her powers right here. I like where this is going. This is a different power system than I've ever encountered ever before in a Nasty Man series. Oh, what they doing to me? What they doing to me? Yuzuki, what are you doing to me, and why are you not real? Oh, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're real. There's plenty of Twitter accounts online that promote their OnlyFans, so I'm pretty sure that she's real somewhere in there. Call Girl in Another World, I saw that it had some fantasy aspects in it. I didn't really want to get into it, but once I actually started reading it, I actually had a really good time with it. The artwork, it do be artworking, trust me, it do be artworking. And some of the situations that she gets into, it is very episodic. So there are characters that kind of join the foray and join our main cast. And there's this one character where he's like a dark sorcerer, a dark emperor, like one of the top 4 or whatever. And Yuzuki ends up pleasing him. And he likes it so much that he comes to the brothel that she works at. And he wants to work there because he likes pleasure. And he ends up turning into a girl. It ends up pleasuring other people too, and becomes a student to Yuzuki's techniques. Very confusing situation, yes, but somehow they make it work. They make it work, baby. I don't know how they do it, but they did it. 7 Seas. Oh, I need more of these, baby. And there's plenty of volumes. I've had volume 1 in my collection for a long time and just have been afraid to read it. And I finally took the plunge, especially when I saw that it wasn't too wordy. And I was like, you know what? How could I have not read a series called A Call Girl in Another World? Basically, she has to do all these sexual deviant acts in this book in order for her to get back home. How could I have not read that before? If you haven't, go ahead, check it out. If you're of age, of course, if you're of age, but if you're watching this video, you know, you're probably of age. And if you're seeing these pages uncensored, then you're probably on the Patreon. So Patreon people, y'all know I got you with the B-roll and things like that. But for the YouTube people, well, if you want to see this uncensored, well, go ahead, go to the Patreon. But honestly, that's all I have to say for Call Girl in Another World. I was pleasantly surprised. And by pleasantly, I really do mean pleasantly. Oh, man. Go read it. Go check it out. Check out volume 1 and see if you like it. Like I said, it is that fantasy aspect that I thought I wouldn't like, but it doesn't harp on that too much, and it uses elements from that in the story around the nasty elements, which I do like. You get what I'm saying? The nasty elements is the strongest elements that could have been born on Earth. That's all I gotta really say about talking about this manga. Go ahead, check it out if you haven't already. I really have nothing bad to say about it besides that it gets wordy at the end. That's all. That's the only bad thing I have to say about it. But generally, this actually kind of made me laugh in some parts. I was pleasantly surprised, like I said, pleasantly. And it's finally time for us to actually talk about a Nasty Man series that's more tailored towards the women. And that series has to be JK Haru is a sex worker in another world. Now, I know previously we talked about Call Girl in Another World, and basically kind of the same concept, except this is kind of more geared towards women, meaning that this series really isn't nasty. Like, it doesn't hit that nasty point that I really like or love when it comes from my Nasty Man series. Now, I'm not saying that this is terrible, this is horrible, or anything like that. I'm not a woman, therefore this really isn't for me. A series like Call Girl in Another World, that's for the guys in the chat. But for this, you know, this is a bit more sensual, a bit more in detail, and it doesn't show the nasty aspects as I would like to see. In fact, it goes into detail with some of the actual actions, what the character's actually thinking, and honestly, it does this thing where it paints the world that she's in as a chauvinistic world, meaning that men see women as inferior creatures, therefore women don't have the same rights as men, meaning that that world is essentially misogynistic. And that could turn a lot of people off, especially with stronger themes that are happening in this manga itself. But honestly, I read this and I thought to myself, this is about 4 to 5 chapters. Each chapter is 40 pages. They're all wordy, and it's not really that nasty. So this series definitely isn't one that I will be continuing picking up. But let me actually go ahead and talk about it. So essentially, this girl named JK Haru is a popular girl in high school, and this nerd that had a crush on her tried to save her from an incoming truck and accidentally got both of them killed. And so now they're both in this chauvinistic / misogynistic world that's obviously another world. And in this world, you actually do have skills, you have cheats. It's kind of isekai-ish, where the actual guy character that was isekai'd with JK Haru, he has skills like in a video game, and he can actually see what skills other people have and stuff like that. While JK Haru, well, she didn't really pay attention to that little explanation that was given to them by the deity or the sorcerer that brought them to this world. Therefore, she really doesn't have any type of skill. In fact, she just works in a brothel and is just treated like a streetwalker, a thotty waddy. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's all she's really looked at as. And she was already that in the previous life, but she was popular in the previous life. But in this life, literally her and the nerd boy changed positions when it came to actual life, meaning that he had a higher position, he was rich, he had pretty, you know, he had some riz in that world, while JK Haru, she's kind of fighting for scraps and having to have sex with guys that she really doesn't want to. And it definitely shows in this aspect where some guys have sex with her for revenge, or some guys have sex with her just to take advantage of her, or some guys, you know, just want to have sex with her, pay her, and make themselves feel good. No one really actually cares about JK Haru except for the other women that are also working in this brothel with her. Now, the character of JK Haru, she's not likable because there's some moments where I want to feel sorry for her, but then in the next few pages, she'll end up dissing or talking bad about other people and coming off as super, super rude. Now, I'm not saying that she can't be excused for that type of stuff because, well, the way that the author slash manga really tries to balance it, they try to make you feel sorry for her in one aspect, but they try to make you want to relate to her when she's being a douche. And trust me, when I say she's being a douche, she's generally just doing it, not like trying to get back at somebody. So her character is already unlikable as it is, but the mangaka, the creator of this series, tries to make you feel sorry for her in some instances. In some instances, I would try to feel sorry for her, but then she'd end up turning it around and trying to enjoy it. I don't know, it kind of made me a bit uncomfortable, and that's very rare for me to say in a Nasty Man series. Come on, I'm the Nasty Man. So this series right here, it was cool. The artwork, there's no artwork. There's like silhouettes happening and you can kind of see the shape of her body, but you can't actually see the nipples or anything like that. And she's not like overly horny, which is sad to say. Like I said earlier, in this volume, she gets at one point, and we're in her psyche, we're in her mind as she's getting. And at one point, you know, she's feeling traumatized by it and she's feeling bad about it, but then she kind of turns it around and starts to enjoy it, and she starts to act like she enjoys it. And she works in a brothel, so she gets paid for sex. And I don't know, there's just so many topics in this series that can make you say, oh, that's wrong, I don't like this. And trust me, I understand if no one wants to read this. In fact, like I said, I kind of think this is more geared towards women. And then when I kept reading it and I read the back of the volume, the manga said that he tried to make this for women, so it made complete sense when I was reading this, and I thought that, but when I read that, it really confirmed my thoughts on the series. So overall, on a Nasty Man meter, which I need to make a Nasty Man meter, this is very low on the totem pole in terms of nastiness, meaning that, you know, you're not going to get your rocks off with this one. You get what I'm saying? You're not going to get a good read session with this one. In fact, you're going to feel weird after it, and it's super wordy. It is super wordy and I hated it. Oh my gosh, it took me a while to get through this volume. This is the most wordy Nasty Man manga I've ever read. How many words was in this actual volume right here? I could have read 3 other volumes of another Nasty Man series in my collection. This volume is wordy. Very, very wordy. We get to know all of her thoughts. We get to know her thought process and everything. And trust me, it's not an entertaining read. And it's a lot of words for the sake of a lot of words. And like I said, there's no nastiness into it. So I'm investing into nothing. Overall, I would not recommend JK Haru as a sex worker in another world unless you're a woman looking for a Nasty Man series that really isn't too crazy on the nasty aspect itself. Sadly, I gotta say that I will not be continuing this read. I'll be keeping the volume because I actually read it itself, but overall, I'll just read Call Girl in Another World because I feel like that's more up my alley than JK Haru as a sex worker in Another World is. And sad to say it, and me having to actually publicly say that I'm dropping a Nasty Man series is even sadder to say. Alright guys, that is it for the Nasty Man reading log. I'd like to say thank you guys for watching, and if you like content like this, and trust me, please, if you like content like this, support this content by liking the video, sharing the video, and commenting to help boost it within the algorithm, because these type of videos, well, they kind of get me in trouble with all of my older subscribers and some newer people who are kind of thrown off by the content that I'm talking about in these videos. So if you like content like this, make sure you support it by liking it, watching it all the way through, and commenting for the YouTube algorithm. I'd like to say thank you guys for watching. If you are new to the channel, you haven't already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, post notification bell, like the video, and as usual, I gotta give a huge shout out to my Patreon pledgers for going ahead and financially supporting the channel. Guys, I highly appreciate what you guys are doing for me, financially donating on Patreon. And like I said before, on Patreon, you get access to all this content uncensored for as low as $1. So what are you basically losing at that point? Like I said, uncensored content, all it is $1. All the stuff that you're seeing blurred or bleeped out, well, you get to hear and see that type of stuff on the Patreon uncensored. As long as you're 18, please be 18. Please do not be 18. Those videos are marked 18, so you need to be of that age to be a connoisseur of that type of content. You get what I'm saying? And I gotta give a huge shout out to my YouTube members for also financially donating on the YouTube side of things as well. Big shout out to Broke Boy Game because I gave y'all some gems in this one. These series ain't too long, so you won't be going broke spending your money on these series, but well, let's just say that you got a lot of research to be doing ahead of time. No, I'm sorry. But thank you guys for watching. Dark Sage out. Peace.
Back in my bag and I gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel. Shorty throw that thing back in a pair of heels. Yeah, she be riding on that thing like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, I love them dark skin, brown skin, caramel. You know I had to bring it to the hood like she Karen Civil when she keep on turning head. Cause when she walk that thing, jiggle, jiggle. We going back.